Okay, great. That looks like the top of the hour, so I'm going to go ahead and get it kicked off here. As always, I just want to thank everyone for joining in today. We uh, really appreciate how much attendance we've been getting with these webinars. Because it shows that you guys are interested in learning more about Knowify, trying to get the most out of it. And that's really our goal. We don't want you to just have the subscription to Knowify. We want you to use it and enjoy it and get a lot out of it and say, hey, we're really happy with this product. So um, definitely appreciate everyone taking the time to join in today. And today's webinar is going to be on our mobile app. So for those of you who are familiar with it, we have an app for the people in the field so they can enter in what's happening on the job site and communicate that back to the people in the office just so that we can have everyone all in sync and know what's available and what's happening in real time. For anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Terrin. I manage customer experience at Knowify. I've been with Knowify for 9+ years now. We're in year 10, so that's always very exciting. Good old-fashioned decade at Knowify. And my role here is really just to make sure that people are happy with us. To do the best. I do the best of my ability to make sure you guys are happy with us. And I've worked with most of the customers we've had in some capacity or another, even if that capacity is just these webinars or our YouTube channel. You may have heard my voice in the past, but that's just a little background on me before we jump into our session here. And for our agenda today, I always like to lay this out. We start with slides. I like to just show a couple of slides that kind of cover some basic information about our topic. Again, today's being the smartphone app. And then I'll move that into a demo inside my Knowify account. Now, since today is a webinar on the mobile app, I obviously can't just like pull up my phone. That wouldn't be the most pleasant viewing experience, but I'll show you actually a neat way to access the mobile app from your browser if you ever need to for any reason. And we'll be covering just what you can do with the smartphone app and then some basics around getting time in via the app, project costing, as well as project management, and what Foreman have the ability to do that might be a little different from the basic functionality in the app. And then after my demo, we'll go through a Q&A. If you have questions during the webinar, feel free to ping them in Zoom's Q&A. We have my associate Vin on the line who's going to be answering quicker and unrelated questions. So if you have anything that comes up, definitely pick them in there and we'll do our best to make sure we get to everything. All that being said, I'll go ahead and get us kicked off. So just for starters, what does the mobile app do, right? What is possible with the Knowify smartphone app? I always highlight these things under enter, where using the mobile app, you can enter time, purchases, used materials, comments, and images. To even further sum that up into less, you can enter the cost of you can enter time, you can enter materials, you can enter comments, you can enter images. Because purchases and used materials might be related to one another. But the idea is that this is a way for people on the job site who are incurring costs and working on the job site to provide the people in the office with information. I've worked 8 hours. You can see how that affects your budget. I've purchased these materials. You can see how that affects the cost of the job. Things like that. And then the comments and images are just, again, to convey more than just cost, but the idea of here's what I did today, here's something that's relevant that needs to be communicated, here's a picture of something that caused an issue. Again, just to make sure that all the information that's being collected in the field is being communicated into the office. Beyond the entry of new data, you can also manage different things inside Knowify's mobile app. So that'd be things like tasks. If someone assigns you a task in the on the mobile app or probably from the office into the mobile app, you can mark it as complete. You can actually create new tasks on mobile and assign them to people. And you can just see, okay, here are the things that I need to get done and communicate to the office. Here's what's being completed here. You can also communicate phased progress. So we're always really big on cost versus budget as a way to track progress on a job. But a lot of the times that doesn't tell the whole story, and you want the people in the field to tell you, hey, here's how much we've completed as far as a percentage goes, or how many units we've completed out of the total expected. And the mobile app has the ability to communicate that as well. Similarly to that, you can update phase statuses. So if something's open, you can mark it as complete. And you can also view your schedule on the mobile app to see, okay, what do I need to work on next? So that the people in the office can communicate more directly to the field. Hey, here's where we expect you to be, and so on and so forth. So first thing I mention is always time. When it comes to the mobile app, that's kind of the core use of this. I want to be able to work on the job site and communicate how long I was at the job and what I did into the office so that I can get paid based off the hours that I spent. And so the office knows how much we're spending based off of the hours I spent. We have a couple different ways that we can manage time, mainly with lump sum entry. I worked 8 hours on this, but then also commonly requested check in and check out. So we have the ability to have someone on the job site say, I just got here, and we'll take down the time and their location. And then they can say, I just left, and we'll take their time and location. And we'll say, just so you know, when they checked in and when they checked out, they were near the job site. And we can see based off of when they got there, when they left, here's how many hours were submitted against the job. And then all of that time again is associated with a cost. So instead of it just being, hey, here's the total number of hours, it's also, and here's how much you've spent on the labor entries submitted from the field. When submitting time from the mobile app, you're also prompted for things like comments. Hey, do you have any associated information to accompany this time entry? So you could say, not just I worked 8 hours, not just I worked 8 hours on demolition, but here's what I was doing during this 8 hour time frame. And that could show up on our reporting as well. One common question we get as well pretty often is how the mobile app will work when we're offline. It's not uncommon for our customers to work underground or in elevator shafts, just places where you don't get great service. The way this will work is as you're actually entering time on the mobile app, if you don't have service, it's just going to store it on the app. So when you do get service, it submits that into the office, and those hours are submitted for the sake of all the report running in Knowify. And that includes any of the data that you're managing in Knowify on the mobile app while offline. You can still get full use of anything that's been loaded onto the app before you went offline. And then when you get to service, it's all synced up to the office. When we open up the app initially, we also will always show your scheduled jobs first. So you have the ability to enter time for a job you're not scheduled for by searching it and saying, okay, I'm not on the schedule, but I worked on project 00443 today. Let me enter that in so I can get the time tracked accordingly. But again, whatever you're scheduled on will show up first with a big green check-in button so you can start your timer for the day. Once time is submitted, you do have the ability to adjust it in the mobile app, and the office has the ability to approve it. Once it's approved, it obviously can't be adjusted anymore, but up until that moment, you can always make changes in case there were any errors created in the process of submitting. Now, aside from time, again, we can also enter different types of costs associated with materials and other vendor-related transactions. So this means that I can enter purchases made in the field, and I can also enter material allocations, things that I used from inventory or other stock that I need to track the cost of on a job. Now, when I enter a purchase, the idea is if I'm in the field and I don't have all the materials I need, I can run over to the vendor, I can buy something, and I can bring it to the job site. But we don't want to have to make this a situation where I then send the receipt to someone in the office and then they enter it. We can kind of speed up that process by having the person in the field just take a picture of the receipt and submit it, and it updates the job cost and information accordingly. There's a couple different ways a purchase can be entered via the mobile app. It can be done as vendor spending account, so that vendor will invoice, which is usually used for a purchase order. In this case, would say, oh, I bought this from Home Depot. They'll bill us with all of the rest of our Home Depot expenses at the end of the month. We can also specify that it was paid with a company credit card. So if you're syncing with QuickBooks, you can actually hit that correct credit card feed in QuickBooks and sync up and match there. You can also log cash expenses. You can request a reimbursement. So if someone's in the field and had to buy something with their own money, we can create an outstanding bill with that employee as the vendor. So they're the one who's paid back. And then again, the last option being that parts allocation where I could say, hey, I just pulled 3 items from truck stock, add that cost to the job and remove it from our truck stock. That's available via this mobile functionality as well. And if you upload a receipt with the purchase, we'll actually keep that on file. And again, it'll be submitted into the office. So if they need to review it, if it doesn't look right, if they need any kind of transaction information associated with that, that can always be referenced at any point in time. And then we also have an approval status that accompanies all of this. So instead of just everything from the mobile app getting submitted is automatically costed, you have the ability to give someone limited approval authority and say anything under $100, just let them buy it. As soon as they go beyond that, they can submit the request, but it won't actually go through until I've approved it. And so setting approval authority goes a long way when we're actually filtering out what's entered from the field into the office to make sure that nothing is purchased by accident or entered by accident or anything is overpaid for. It's also worth mentioning that yes, we do have that receipt upload, but it doesn't OCR, so it doesn't actually read the receipt and enter everything. The user in the field would still enter all of the data, but again, for the most part, it's usually pretty quick and easy. You just key in, here's what I bought, and here's how much it cost, and it can be job costed accordingly. Then when we get into the project management part of our mobile app, this is where we get into things like viewing my schedule, managing my tasks, and communicating to the office how much work has been completed from the field. So I can see this is a screenshot of phase progress where on March 19th of last year, we were 25% complete with this. On the 21st, we were 57% complete. This is a way for someone in the field to just tell the people in the office, here's how far we consider ourselves to be done with this. This is really handy in cases where there are large material purchases to start off a project or a phase of a project. If I have budgeted half the cost of the phase as materials, then as soon as I buy the materials, it's going to look like we're 50% complete, but I may not have started the work yet. So the benefit of having this phase progress from the field is that the people who actually are using those materials and installing them on the job can say, hey, just so you know, we haven't actually started this work. Yes, we have the materials here, but no, we have not actually done anything. The progress is at 0% so far. And when they enter that progress, they can also, again, obviously include a comment, but also have images that they want to submit as well to say, here's some photo evidence of the progress that we made, just so they can really communicate, here's where we stand at any point in time. And kind of in that same line, again, we have that communication aspect of the mobile app where it can be comments back and forth. You can write in a generic comment, here's some information that needs to be communicated about where we stand on this job. But you also have the ability to tag people or at people, as they'll call it, so that those people get push notifications and emails. Hey, you've been tagged by Brian on this job. He wrote this comment. This requires your attention. This way you can get some back and forth communication too, as opposed to just a place to log information. You can actually have a conversation via the app where I message something to Brian, Brian sends something back to me, I get the notification, I send something back, and we can have all of that logged on file with the job for reference at future dates. Then the last thing I'll cover in my slide deck here is the Foreman view, where we have the ability to give people the access to enter time for other people. So instead of me just entering my own time, I can be a foreman and enter time on behalf of Neil or Kay or Jack and have that additional functionality that they might not have on their own. This is useful in cases where, let's say, we don't know that everyone has a smartphone, which is pretty common. We don't trust the people to enter their own time because they might trade logins. That happens as well. If you want to just say, hey, we trust John to take care of all time entry, he'll check them in when they get there. That's always an option using the mobile functionality in Knowify as well. This also gives people the ability to add phases to jobs. So generally, adding a phase is something that's limited to people on the web browser. With the Foreman capability, they can actually just use that add phase option and just track additional things that weren't in the original scope of work. So that's always handy as well. I usually would now open up my browser here and use the browser demonstration, but since this is a mobile one, I'm going to show you another trick. But real quick, most of what we're going to be doing here is this project 00131, just for reference. But here's what my mobile app's going to look like. And you can see that I'm at phone.knowify.com. So if anyone ever needs to access the mobile app from their web browser, this is where you have that ability is phone.knowify.com. And it just kind of simulates the option of having the mobile app here. And just to see it a little bit more in a mobile view, if I went narrow like this, that's a little bit more what it looks like on the phone for the actual users. So I can see that this user, and his name is John Higgins in my account, is scheduled on one job today from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's project 131, and he's working on the demolition. That project is for General's Construction. I can just get a really high level of information about this here, and I can click check in to just start my time for the day. And you see that this timer starts. This is just going to be ticking throughout the life of anywhere I go through my account here. When I'm done with the day, I can click checkout, and that'll prompt me to enter a comment to go with the time. It'll confirm the amount of time that we're submitting here. I also have the ability to switch jobs or switch phases here, or just cancel the check-in if it was made as a mistake. If I need more information about this job beyond this high level information, though, I can also just click on the name of the job or this arrow to the right, either way, however we want to look at it. And I can see the address of the job. I can see all that same functionality around checkout. And I can see that that counter, again, is following me around through this. So I can see my current open time entry. And I can actually click on that at any point in time to bring me back to the check-in and see where we stand with this. From inside this job details, I can also do things like click here to get client contact detail information. I can add additional contacts to the customer through here. Since this user is a foreman, I can see team activity. This is where I can check in additional users if I need, and I can change the day of which I enter this time. I can also see my own check-in location versus where we have the job site. And if I click on the job site, I'll actually have the ability to open up this address in Apple Maps, Google Maps, or Waze to get directions there as well. We'll get more into phase progress in a bit, but the idea is I can click on progress here and I can add progress, and I'll just quickly enter something. I'll backdate this since we can enter something for today. You know, as of yesterday, we were 20% complete. Finished demo, working on haul out. And I could upload images here, either taking a picture from my phone, or I have the ability to upload something that's already been uploaded on my phone. Taken on my phone. When I'm done with my day, I can click this checkout button, and you can see that it's going to ask me to adjust. It's going to say time in was 1:16, time out 1:18. And I could say, actually, this ended up being 4 hours and 0 minutes. And it's going to ask, why'd you adjust the time? I could say I checked in late. And I could say, sorry about the adjustment, forgot to check in. I was in a rush, and that could be submitted on file with the rest of the entry. And the people in the office will be notified, hey, this isn't actually the check-in and check-out time that the person submitted. It's been adjusted. Here's the adjustment they made, and here's the comment to go along with it. So no adjusted time entries can be snuck by and passed along as if that was the actual time. We actually just will let you know that things have changed based off of what adjustments they made. Something we can cover a little bit later on. It's usually one of our more common questions, but you also have an ability to stop the option of manual time entry or adjusting of time entries if that's something that you need to do in your account as well. Just tell people it has to be a check-in and check-out. If you need an adjustment made, talk to someone in the office. For time that is manually entered, I can go to more actions and say add time. This is also where I can just make other changes. So this was against demo, but if I wanted to say, well, I was on 131, but I was actually working on the rough in, I can make that adjustment here. I can also retroactively change time entries. So if I'm on the mobile home screen, I can hit the menu and go to time card. I can see here the 2 entries submitted today. There's the rough in one. I actually want to edit that time entry that was in fact for demo, and I can change it here. Then all these entries, when we get to the browser, just to show you guys what this looks like, if I go to this check-in and check-out view, I can see that John checked in, off-site, checked back out, off-site, and I can see this warning. This was manually edited by a mobile user. Then if I go to the review time section and I look at timesheets for today, here's John's timesheet, and I have the ability to see checked in at this time, checked out at that time. And again, I could see that there was an adjustment here manually edited by a mobile user. Um, Now that's some of the basics around time. Now I want to start looking into costs associated with the job. So I'm going to go back to my home screen. I'm going to pull up the job for today. And I can see here that under more actions, I can say add purchase. This is where I could say add a purchase made with company money, or I could specify it was purchased with my money. I could say add purchase. I paid with I could say company credit card. We bought this from ABC Supply. It's automatically assigning it to the demo phase of this job because that's where I entered the purchasing screen from, but we can always just generically enter purchases and then choose the job afterwards. Now I could say I bought a widget, or if I want to actually look from the Knowify catalog, I could say I bought a widget as it says, as it's noted in the catalog. It'll bring in the cost associated with it if I need. And if I want to come in here and say we also bought, let's just say an outlet, and I know we usually buy these for $10, but it was 11 here, and I actually ended up buying 5 of them. What I'm trying to do here is just replicate what's on the receipt so that can be job costed accordingly. And then I can include the receipt or include comments about this purchase. We ran out of widgets in truck stock, had to buy some from ABC Supply. And that can be associated with this purchase as well, just for review at a later date. And then I chose cash and debit. If I chose a company credit card, like I mentioned earlier, I could also select which card that we bought this with. And then I could submit this and it updates the cost of the job accordingly. So again, just to show you what that looks like on the browser side of things, I can go check on this job and see the updated cost based off of what was submitted from the field. And here's the PO relevant. Just like we can review and make adjustments to time entries, you can also go to the menu and open up your purchases. I can see the different purchases I've created and their current status. This is also where I can get a PO number. Once it's approved, I'll be able to check on that number and give it to the vendor if necessary. And again, if I need to click this and get more information, see the receipt images, anything like that, we have that option. And then again, I can always make adjustments to the purchase here too if there's an issue, or I can remove it entirely. When it comes to parts that were used from inventory or from another place, I can use this parts button from the home screen. But again, it's always kind of easier to go into the job details, more actions, add parts. I don't have inventory set up in this account, but this is where I could specify which inventory location I'm pulling from. So truck 1, truck 2, etc. For this one, I'll just say I used primer for my truck stock. I used 5 buckets. And I could submit this as part of the cost of the job. And again, if it's from inventory, it'll remove those 5 buckets of primer from my inventory as well. Now, again, I have the ability to enter that phase progress. So here was my yesterday progress. I'm going to enter some more here. Now we are 54% complete. finished, call out, doing some cleaning now. And all of this progress that I submit, again, is going to be conveyed into the office when I look at plan and track in this view dates and progress screen. So let me just update this now that we have more progress tracked, where I could see 54% complete. As of the 24th, we were 20% complete. Here's the comment. As of the 54th, we were, as of the 25th, we were 54% complete. Here's some comments. And then images can be submitted here as well. And for anyone who uses our daily logs feature, that'll actually always upload into the daily logs too, just to automatically populate the daily log based off of what's been submitted from the field. So you can see that it's not necessarily building a daily log based off of individual entries to the daily log in particular, but as I'm updating phase progress, entering time, things like that, it's automatically just updating and creating a daily log for me in real time. Some other project management features that I always like to mention would be things like our comments section, where if I need to communicate and send a notification to someone, I can say like, hey, at Terrin, we had to hit pause on this project due to inclement weather. And that's going to email Terrin, myself, and it's going to send them a push notification just so they see, hey, here's something that needs my attention. And then they can communicate back, and I can actually see from the office what's been communicated backwards. So if I go look at the logs for this job, not the daily logs, but just the generic logs, here's the comment made by John, and I could say add a log back, add John, sounds good. Please move to project 130 because it's indoors, anything like that. And that's just the way that we can kind of see that communication back and forth and just have the people in the field talk to the people in the office and have that all on file in case we want to see this project again in the future. How come this took so long? We can see those comments tell us a little bit more about what happened there. Now, when it comes to uploading images from the job site, that's where we have this images option. It's a little trickier to show via the mobile browser imitation version, but from here I have the ability to take a picture from my smartphone or upload an existing picture and have this sync up to the office as well. So if I need to upload a picture that's not part of phase progress and just generically a picture that needs to be part of this job, I have that option through this images option here. We also have the ability to manage tasks from here. So I don't have any assigned, but let me just go back to the browser really quickly. If someone says add new task, don't forget to upload an image next time. I can say this is going to be due by Friday and it's for 131, and this is just generic task management. I think we covered some stuff around task management in the past webinars, but I'll assign this to John Higgins, my mobile user. This would send a push notification to that user as well, just so they can see without having to open up the app and look for their tasks. And I can see, don't forget to upload an image next time. I can mark this as complete, and that'll send a notification back to the person who created the task initially and let them know that this has been done. I can also, again, from mobile, add tasks. So I can say add task, order materials for rough in. This needs to be ordered by tomorrow. And I could say I'm assigning this to Terrin. And that can communicate into the field as well. Oops, sorry about that. And if I ever need to check on the status, it automatically assigned me here so I could see, which outstanding tasks are still here, and I can see them filtered into what's for today versus upcoming versus overdue, etc. Then the last thing I'll cover here is going to be around the Foreman capability. So in the office, just so people see what I'm referencing, under users, this is the user John Higgins. And I have this is a Foreman or can approve time cards permission enabled for this user. So what that gives this person the ability to do, and sorry for the constant making this big and then shrinking it, but I get this additional part of the mobile app that says Foreman, where I can open this and say, I'm working on 131, and then it'll say, okay, here's 131. What are the phases? I could say I'm working on demo, or again, I can from the field say uh, change order lighting, and I can create a new phase for this job so I can start tracking the cost of that phase. Then from here, I can go to team activity and say Charles, and I can either check him in and check him out. Or I can say Eli worked for 6 hours on this job and submit time manually like that. And then again, if I check them out, we always have the ability for, with the check and check out to make adjustments as necessary. But this way, people in the field as foremen have the ability to track time for other people instead of just themselves. And we get a little extra functionality that way. And then when I come check this out in the field, or sorry, in the office, if I want to look at the time, I could see Charles submitted by John Higgins, Eli submitted by John Higgins. But then since I checked in and out Charles, I could see his time submitted like this as well, with all of the necessary information. Um, I think that's just about everything I wanted to cover with this mobile app webinar. I did see some questions come in, so I'll start tackling those. But just some helpful hints when it comes to mobile. It's always nice to use this plus sign at the bottom to just quickly add different things or perform different actions. So if I need to quickly upload an image, if I need to quickly view my schedule, I can do that here. So I can see tomorrow's schedule and the next day and the next day, etc. I also can get more functionality from this menu. So from here, I can say, okay, show me all of my tasks instead of seeing them on a job by job basis. Show me all of my purchases or parts allocated without seeing them on a job by job basis. This just gets me a little bit more generic functionality. And I could view notifications that were sent to me here. They weren't sent in this situation, but that's basically where I would have the option of just reviewing what has been updated that needs my attention. And then again, when in doubt, you can always from this plus screen say find and type in the name of the job that you're trying to work on. Or if you don't know the job, you can enter in things like the name of the customer. I'm working on a job. I know it's for Calvin. Here are the different Calvin jobs and phases associated. And I could say, oh, perfect. Here's 123 Main Street. That's the one I was looking for. And I can get more information about that. What's also nice about just browsing through jobs and their schedules is that if additional information needs to go along with jobs instead of just the name of the phase and the name of the job, we can communicate to our field staff with things like our work order, where I could say demo add work order, demo the thing, what else? And that's going to be visible for the people on the mobile app. Or I can always do add new allocation for John for 131. I'm trying not to spend too much time on the web side of things, but just because it shows on mobile, these are the specific notes for this scheduled appointment. And instead of 6 to 4, I want you working on this from 12 to 4. And all of that's going to be visible to the people on mobile as well, just so they can get a little bit more information about this. So I'll quickly just pull up that work order, but work order, demo the thing, what else? And then I can pull up that allocation to show you just the specific scheduling notes there. So again, a lot of capability to just communicate between the phone and the office and back and forth just to have that option available. I'm going to go ahead and start our Q&A now. Let me just pull these up. First question that came in. Do all users have the ability to change or update service requests? Can you limit the user's ability to change projects? I believe that is something that is limited, but I'll double check that. I'd say it should be people who have Foreman capability can create or edit service jobs. Everyone else should only be able to work on existing ones. But definitely follow up with our support team. It's not often that I'm stumped in these things, but our mobile capability with service jobs is relatively new. So I'd love to confirm before giving the wrong answer on that one. There was a question of where do I find how to message employees when at a job or even coworkers. So uh, couple options here. So if we're on mobile, I think one thing that's handy just for generic messaging is to open up this plus and say add comment, and then I can choose what job I need to submit the comment for. We don't have generic feeds that go across jobs at this point in time on mobile, but that way we can just kind of quickly create a message and send them to people. The Foreman view also has this loudspeaker icon where I can say I need to send a notification to this person and this person. Um, and here's what I need that notification to send. So if I need a more generic, just hey, communicate this out to the field, you have that option as well. Um, and then again, in each individual job, and I know I covered this, but just to reiterate here, I can pull up the comment section of the job and see that back and forth log of information. Um, Someone's asking, what's the best way to mark reimbursements as paid? Uh, when you create a reimbursement from the mobile app, it creates an outstanding bill in the office so that that bill could be marked as paid. So if I say add a reimbursement, gas for $75, since I submitted this as user John Higgins, I can go to the big Knowify, the browser. I can check my outstanding bills, and I have an outstanding $75 bill with that John Higgins. We have the feature to not sync this to QuickBooks, which I think was kind of a follow-up part of this person's question because they're using journal entries for this because it does runs through payroll. That's okay. And then from here, I can mark this as paid in Knowify just so that Knowify knows that we no longer owe this person that $75. Um, can I create a PO and get a PO number if I don't need manager approval? Yeah, if you create a PO and you don't need approval, it'll just give you that number. So in my purchases, I can see purchase number 28 or anything like that. If you do need manager approval, I don't believe it gives you that PO number right off the bat. But once it's approved, you'll be able to reference that number. And then the last question I have here was how are PDFs sent to the app? So similar to uploading a picture and sending it into the office, you can upload pictures into this documents folder. Let's see if I have anything ready that I can upload here. I usually try to keep something, but and then once there's a file uploaded here, you can click this share mobile. And then when that user is in that job on the mobile app, so I could say find, uh, here's my scheduled job. I could say images. It'll show me whatever's been shared with mobile, PDF, or otherwise here. There's another question about the PO number being manually changed through the app. I don't think we have that yet, but it is requested from time to time. So, it's something we'll likely be looking into in the future. As of right now, though, I don't believe we allow you to actually establish what the PO number is while creating the purchase on mobile. It'll have to be something that is generated automatically once it's been submitted. When a foreman sends a notification via the loudspeaker, is that to the crew's phone uh, or only other Knowify accounts? So it would go as a push notification to their phone if they have Knowify downloaded. If they don't have it downloaded, then it could just send them an email. So that's kind of the short one. It goes direct to the phone if they have Notify downloaded. If they don't have it downloaded, we can't send a push notification because it doesn't have anything to push to. Not via text yet, which was the follow-up question. Then there was a question of, is anything uploaded to a job accessible to all team members, or can you edit those permissions as well? So that's kind of why we have this share mobile option to turn on and off. Admin users will be able to see everything regardless of whether or not it's shared. But this share option lets you say, okay, I don't want them to see this in the field. I do want them to see this option. Um, Then there's a question, can the PO number submitted in the field be changed on the office side? Yeah, that shouldn't be an issue. So if a purchase is submitted in the field, it just creates a general purchase in the office. So if I want to see everything created today, in fact, here's the one we just created, PO 29. I have the option to edit this and change the number if I need. So that's not an option at all. And no need to apologize for questions. I noticed in my app, I'm only seeing the details in team activity, but not the phase progress. Yeah, so that's a great question actually. So if I pull up the job that we were working on earlier, there's kind of two levels of this. One, in my plan and track section, I have to define progress on a phase, so I can see, for instance, finish work doesn't have any progress defined, so I wouldn't be able to see that option. Um, if I don't see the define progress option, then that would actually be in my admin section under customize, project management, enable progress at the phase level. And so if you don't see that progress option, it might just be hiding behind this and then inside the plan and track. Then there was someone who said they missed part of the training, just following up asking about entering employee hours in the app. Absolutely, you have that ability, and we'll send you the recording of this session afterwards so you can review how the Foreman features work, where you can enter time on behalf of other users. You don't even have to be an admin. That's just a optional option there. It looks like that's all the questions we have, and we have just about 15 minutes left. So I'm happy to give you guys some time back in the day. If anything else comes up that we didn't get a chance to answer, or if you have more questions, never be shy about reaching out to our support team just to get some more questions answered. And if you ever run into issues with the app, if you want to just run some checks by us, is this how it's supposed to be working, or is there a bug here? Definitely follow up with our team. We're always happy to help in any way we can. Our priority is make sure that you're happy with the product. So whatever we could do, it's never too big of an ask. Thanks everyone again, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. Take care.